Hey guys, Mindy Calaguire here, and I am excited to journey with you on a topic that is very dear to my heart. We are starting a whole new series with Leadership Network on leading basically for transformation. And this is a topic that comes up quite frequently in my work with leaders all over the place. My personal sense of calling is really around this intersection of spiritual formation and leadership. And often that has me working with groups of leaders or individual leaders for the well-being of their own soul, which I, of course, really love and care a ton about. But the topic we're looking at is actually the other side of that intersection, and that is when someone is leading for the formation of the people they serve. So that I hope might be you, and that might be something that you're committed to in your own leadership journey. And so we are going to traverse a variety of topics on this goal of how to lead for transformation. And so I'm glad you've joined us and delighted to have you with us. I hope it'll be practical. I hope it'll be inspiring. And I hope it will be sort of feel accessible, like this is something you can do. And I pray that you will, because I don't think this has ever been more important as a topic for the people of God. Right now, we are living in a day when literally the Surgeon General is telling us that the greatest medical risk to our entire country is loneliness. And we'll be talking more about that on a variety of ways in the next few months. But for us in this session and in this series, it matters because the church working right can really help people with loneliness. We can help address that at scale. So it matters that we, as the body of Christ, step into this moment in our world and in our nation. So that's one thing that I think is really important. And another thing I thought you might find interesting is recently I was at a gathering of some leaders of evangelistic ministries. And someone from the Barna Group was actually reading out some data that they haven't even published yet. So I hope I'm not like ruining any surprises, but a lot of the research they did, and I don't know that it would be stated this way in their conclusions, but the observation that this individual made as they were discussing their findings was this, that the new apologetic with emerging generations and sort of in the moment we're in right now in the body of Christ. You know, in the past, the apologetic was your ability to defend the tenets of the faith and talk about the fact of the resurrection. And those are important dimensions of apologetics, rhetoric and logic and reason and all that kind of stuff. And then in some cases later on, a very important apologetic for how you could know that the gospel was real had to do with purpose and helping people understand purpose and finding purpose and fulfilling purpose. And again, that as well is still, of course, true and real and important. But their research would suggest that the new apologetic, the new thing that convinces people that Jesus is who he said he was, is, catch this, inner peace. The fact of someone possessing inner peace is actually the thing that would capture the imagination of someone who is far from God. Guys, that's a big deal. What does it mean for the people of God, increasingly, all of us, to be marked by that kind of peace that we know is available to us, that Jesus has made available? And how do we live in that? How do we be marked by that kind of peace? And wouldn't it be amazing if that became something that Jesus's people were so known for that it brought revival, because people began to believe that he is who he said he was because his people were marked by peace. So there's a lot of things at stake when we think about formation or being formed in the image of Christ at scale in our organizations. Sometimes we think of that as like it happens sort of randomly and episodic, and it's not something that routinely is experienced as someone is part of our communities. And that's what we can change. We can start leading for transformation and have it become a norm that when someone is involved in one of our communities or one of our organizations, it would be expected that over time they are having more joy and more life and more to give to their families and more contribution in the workplace, in the marketplace, whatever it might be, that there is a flourishing that comes through intentional following of the way of Jesus. And Renovation of the Heart is one of my favorite books written by Dallas Willard. And in it, he has this great quote talking about this possibility of formation happening in organizations. And he says this, and I want to say this to you as an invitation to, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if this were the case? He says, fortunate or blessed are those who are able to find or are given a path of life. That's a big idea, a path of life that will form their spirit and inner world in a way that is truly strong and good and directed Godward. And friends, that's what I'll read that again in a second, but that's what you as a leader in your organization have the capacity, responsibility to do, is lay out for people what is this path of life and how will they journey along that path. So again, Willard writes, fortunate or blessed are those who are able to find or are given, and that's what we do in organizations, a path of life that will form their spirit and inner world in a way that is truly strong and good and directed Godward. So where we're headed in this series is to explore what I call the Essential Five. It's a free download from our website on soulcare.com. Please go ahead and grab that because it might be a good accompaniment to what we're going through together. But in our series, in this video series, I'm going to tackle one of each of those Essential Fives in each of our videos so that over time you get a little bit more coaching on how you might go about taking those key steps and, God willing, finding great fruit of this effort in your ministry. So this is where we're going. That's what we're answering, is how is it that we can lead so that spiritual formation, transformation, whatever language you want to put around it, so that you're actually inviting people into life, into a path of life. So each of these will unpack it. And no matter what your role is in an organization, you could be a senior leader, you could be a small group leader, you could be any role whatsoever. I am aiming each of these sessions to allow you to make actual practical choices and intentional steps into leading for transformation, no matter what proverbial seat on the bus you hold. So you have our prayer. Our whole team is standing by, desiring to support you in whatever way we can. And there's a lot of ways we might, but most importantly for now, buckle in and jump in. You can just stream through all these all at once if you want, or you can take them chunk by chunk and, sort of gate them by your own progress. But either way, it doesn't matter. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're part of this journey with us. And welcome to the Essential Five.